Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper is preparing for a crucial state visit this week to China, where, among other things, he's expected to discuss selling Canadian oil products to the Asian giant.
Well, this will be my second official visit to China since becoming Prime Minister, and obviously on these visits we raise a whole range of issues: security, human rights, democracy, these things, but the principal purpose of the trip is obviously the deepening and furthering of our economic ties. We've seen significant growth of trade and investment under our government, but obviously given the state of the global economy and weakness in many of our traditional markets, expanding our footprint in Asia and in China in particular are high priorities for the government.
Harper is anxious to construct a Pacific oil pipeline after President Barack Obama rejected the building of a route from Alberta to Texas by TransCanada's Keystone XL, largely on environmental and safety concerns.
Obviously, we will do whatever we can to avoid getting involved in the U.S. political process, but it's not much secret that there's immense support for the project in the United States, and not just among business and Republicans, but also among labor unions and Democrats, as there is in this country, support from both business and labor. So I anticipate there'll continue to be quite a political debate around this project. That all said, David, I think we need to be clear. As much as I want to see that Keystone project proceed, I think this incident, and there are other economics involved obviously, but they all underscore the fact that it is in this country's national interest to be able to sell products beyond the United States. And I don't think a reversal of an American decision can change that fundamental reality. So I think it is absolutely essential that we find ways of being able to sell our products to the biggest growing markets in the world, and those are in Asia.
A spokesman for Harper told the Associated Press that it is absolutely in Canada's interest to build a new pipeline to transport oil to China. CBC reported that 99% of Canadian crude oil is currently shipped to the United States. Harper clearly wants to diversify his country's customer base for energy products.
One never knows the future, but certainly the growth prospects that are over the medium term, over the next generation, certainly look, they have been very significant, and they certainly look much more significant than in some of the developed world. And look, that doesn't mean that we're going to pass on the developed world. We've got an important initiative, the Beyond the Border initiative, to deepen our access to the American market, and we're negotiating a free trade agreement with the European Union. So we want to explore those possibilities as well, but I think all the experts agree that the prospects for the greatest global growth are in Asia, and we want to make sure we exploit those.
The Canadian mission, which will arrive in Beijing on Tuesday, is the largest of its kind since 1998. Guests include top executives from Shell Canada, Enbridge, and Canadian Oil Sands, as well as uranium producer Cameco Corp and mining firm Teck Resources. Harper denied the suggestion that he had softened his tone on human rights over the years in the interest of boosting trade.
Well, we always, as you know, whenever we meet with our Chinese counterparts, we obviously raise these issues generally, and we raise a number of specific cases. There are obviously human rights and other specific consular cases that are of some significant concern to this government, and we raise those things regularly and including in all the appropriate leaders' meetings, and we will continue to do that. And my judgment, David, is this, that I obviously welcome the growth of the Chinese economy, but I remain convinced, as we've seen in our own history and around the world, that in the long term, economic and political progress are linked. One helps the other, and ultimately, if they don't both move together, one will retard the other. So I think this is in everybody's interest to see progress in those areas.
Canada, the largest supplier of energy to the United States, was profoundly disappointed by Washington's decision to veto TransCanada Corp's Keystone project. The United States, by far Canada's largest trading partner, is unlikely to look at the project again until next year. At 170 billion barrels, Canada's oil sands are the third largest crude deposit in the world, and Canadian exports to bigger markets will be a focal point of Harper's meetings in China, where he will be accompanied by 5 cabinet ministers and the heads of major corporations seeking business. China has already made it clear it would like to import Canadian oil to help power its rapidly expanding economy. Jessica Minton, IB Times TV.